What you're about to listen to is a Bry-Fy production. Comic book reviews. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Bry-Fy podcast. I'm your host, Bry-Fy, your comics guy, and this episode's a little late, but hey, maybe it's a great way to start your Monday listening to the soothing, sexy. I don't know where I was going with that. Hopefully it's going to be a good day, and you're starting off with me for the week, You may be hearing a noise in the background. That is my water sprinkler going off right now. Because we ain't getting no rain. We ain't getting none. And I'm trying my best to have my grass just even survive at this point. Not just to have a plot of dirt in my front yard. So I'm doing like everything I can. And like, I don't even know. I've been looking up stuff online to try to see like, what's the best amount of time to run a water sprinkler and like at what time to do it. So that way your grass gets like just enough water and stuff. And really, I don't think unless I'm running like an underground like drainage slash what do you call that, irrigation, there you go, like an irrigation piping. I don't think there's any helping this. Like it sucks, but this is why hurricanes in Texas are kind of good. Like they do a lot of bad, don't get me wrong, but they also bring a lot of rain with them. And during the summer and stuff like that, we desperately need rain. So, I mean, hey, we will take whatever tropical storm, like maybe like real low, like a tropical depression, if you will. One hit close to Corpus Christi, but we were too far north to get any rain from that. We're a lot closer to Houston. And so we didn't get any rain from that. Anyway, that's enough about my personal. So anyway, this week, just a couple of things to talk about, and I think I have some. Oh, I got two things that I want to like big talk about. Big talk. So yeah, we'll get into that stuff. But up first, let's talk about the nifty nerd news. All right, man. Up first in the nifty nerd news, it looks like there's been some drama going down with the new Snow White movie that Disney's putting out, the live action Snow White movie. And I'll be honest, not even remotely interested in watching it because I was never really a big fan of Snow White. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about it. I've never been a fan of it, man. That just never hit me as a child growing up for whatever reason. I mean, I remember Cinderella and liking Cinderella. Like, I'm trying to think of old Disney. Bambi. And really, Snow White just was never on my radar. Maybe it was too old for me. And like, and my parents were just letting me watch whatever they thought I would like. And I mean, Fox and the Hound was another big one that I was a huge fan of. But I never really touched on like Snow White. I never really cared so much. Now I've seen it recently, and it's still not my favorite movie. I mean, I'm not, just whatever. It is what it is. Anyway, so they're making a live action one, which, go them, right? Like Disney's just doing whatever they can to make a buck, and they know that we're going to pay for it. Like it's just what happens. I mean, it all started with, well, who did the Snow White and the Huntsman movie and all that? Like, so there's already been a Snow White live, and like now I'm thinking, oh yeah, with Kristen Stewart, she did all that stuff. So, well, that was more of like, I guess the classical book Snow White, maybe. I don't know. I don't know where all this stuff comes from, and I really don't care. But I'll tell you who does care. The child of the director from the original Snow White. He cares a lot, and a lot of people care a lot. And look, they're making a lot of just they're making decisions with this movie. I don't know what they're trying to do with it and where they're going with it. And people are not happy by it. And I don't know why they interviewed the son of the director from the original cartoon of Snow White, but they did. And he's very upset. And I got to tell you, and like, I don't know, like people, like you're outraged or whatever. You don't like something, don't watch it. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, don't watch it. That's what I do. If there's movies out that I'm like, I really don't agree with either their choices or like the people involved, just don't watch the movie. You know what happens? Nothing. It doesn't affect my life. It doesn't hurt my feelings. It doesn't do anything. Yes, it exists, but what's funny is my life exists without it too. Like, I don't know. There's so much things happening in the world right now that I just don't get involved in. Like, good, bad, whatever. And you know what? I'm pretty happy. But I bring this stuff to your attention because maybe you want to do something about it. Maybe you need to do something about it. That's what I'm here for, to give you information. Anyway, moving on. This bit of nifty nerd news I found very nifty, as long as kind of nerdy. I don't know. I guess it depends on your take on it. So giant cargo ships are like going full circle and starting to use sails, like wind sails, for cargo ships. And now it's not like, pirate ship, cloth sails or whatever, or canvas, whatever. I don't know what the hell sails are made out of. I'm not a boatsman by any means, but these cargo ships are using like these giant metal, almost like wing sails, like just huge. And what's kind of cool about them is they're on hydraulics, so they can move to capture the wind just right, and they can fold down so they can enter into ports. Because these things are huge. It's just fucking ginormous is the best way to put it. And currently, it's not like major production or anything right now. There's a cargo ship named the Pyxis Ocean, and it's I believe it's currently on its maiden voyage with these wind sails, and I guess the engineering and everything behind it believes that it could help cut emissions like up to 30% if things go really well with it, which I'm all for it. And like in like this world of where like, hey, we're trying to cut emissions and stuff, I never once thought, hey, we should make cargo ships use sails. Like, that was like beyond anything I could have even fathomed. And here they are, these giant metal monstrosity gas guzzlers using giant monstrous wind sails to help them guzzle 30% less, which is, in the grand scheme of things, that's actually really nice and really convenient. I thought it was really interesting. You can check out more of this. I think the article I was looking at was on CNN, but if you just type in cargo ship wind sails, should pull right up, which is kind of interesting to me. Let's see. Moving on. No, not Cash App. Hey, do you guys remember that whole Fire Festival thing that went really bad? Who was it? That Billy McFarland guy who ended up going to prison for essentially scamming a bunch of people, creating. I can't even say he meant well. Because everything that I've read and both documentaries that I've seen, like, this dude was pretty much just an asshole who thought the world of himself, which, I mean, I guess, you got to be your number one fan to get shit done. But this dude was literally playing with fire and spelled like for the Fire Festival. And it went really, really poorly, and he was punished for it. So now, after all that said and done, he's come out to already announce that tickets are available for Firefest 2. Which there's no one that's been booked. There's not a venue. There's nothing. But you can get tickets for it because he has never learned his lesson, and neither have adolescent teens. Like, People are going to be like, ooh, another luxury festival just for me. It's going to be like the Coachella of the Caribbean, which is probably a really good selling point when I'm thinking about it. But you would think people would have learned their lessons, and they're not. Like, that's the thing. No one has learned their lesson. No one will learn their lesson. And then they're just going to get, they're just, I don't know. It's just going to be bad, man. Just bad. Anyway, speaking of just bad things, a lot of celebrities, like actors and actresses, are jumping ship from manager Scooter Braun. I don't know much about Scooter Braun other than that he's been losing a lot of his clientele here recently, but nothing has come out about him. Like, I can't find anything about him. I can't, it's like, there's just nothing, no reports. No one said anything like, oh, he touched me, or he eats babies, or like he's a secret Nazi, or he like drinks nothing but Monster energy drinks. Like, there's been nothing that I can find. Now, granted, I mean, one, he's in a pretty cutthroat industry, and it seems like, he's trying to make money for himself. So maybe people just don't agree with his practices and have just kind of kept it on the hush hush. But it's just here in like the last month, a lot of people have dropped him. A lot of his clients have dropped him, and it's very interesting why nothing has happened. And I've been trying my best to look into it, but it's just crazy. In fact, I'm going to just do a quick Google search right now on Scooter Braun. Scooter Braun. And what's the deal? Everyone's like, what's the deal? Why are people leaving? And Ariana Grande parts way with Scooter Braun. Justin Bieber fires Scooter Braun. Like no one knows what's going on. They just know everyone's jumping ship from this dude, which to me is just fascinating, because normally we hear about stuff like this. Like, we hear someone's an awful person or something crazy happened, but for whatever reason, man, this has been kept really hush hush, and it has everyone trying to poke and prod and figure out what's going on, but no one's talking, man. So maybe he has a lot of blackmail on these people, and maybe that's why they're leaving, because of the blackmail. I don't know. Well, we'll have to see. And then in the last bit of nifty nerd news, it's not even really nerdy or anything. Me and some of my friends at work, I said friends, you heard it. We got on the discussion of baseball players and like the shortest baseball players and like who's the shortest and whatever. And that led me down a rabbit hole to find who the shortest baseball player to ever play the game was. And that led me to a man named Eddie Gadell. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Born in June of 1925, sadly died also in June in 1961. And he was the smallest player to ever appear in a Major League Baseball game. And he was just a pinch hitter. He was brought in for one game in August 1951 with his only plate appearance, and he was a 4-pitch walk, made it on base. So his on-base percentage is 1,000, or like one, like, because they do it in percentage, so points. So he had a perfect on-base percentage, no batting average, and only one plate appearance. He played for the St. Louis Browns, and really, it was more of a gimmick than anything. I believe he was like a mascot at the time, and he stood at a whopping, where did his height go? It was right here, 3'7" tall. That's 109 centimeters for the rest of the world out there. And he only weighed 60 pounds or 27 kilograms. And it was just, I don't know, man. He wore, like, it obviously was for publicity. I mean, sports back in those days were struggling. They're not the $1 million, like, cash cows that they are this day and age. And so they were doing a lot of things to, one, get people in seats and make a name for themselves and get famous or whatever. And what's funny is Mr. Eddie here had the number 1/8 displayed on his jersey. I guess because he was roughly 1/8 the size of a normal person. I don't know. No, 3 feet. That's pretty big. That's at least a half, if anything else, man. And he was 3'7", so if you doubled him, if he stood on top of himself, he would be much taller than me. So, he's more than half a person. And I would like to think me at 5'6" is an average height human, ladies. I don't know. I find it really interesting and fascinating. And like, that's one of my things that I enjoy looking into is just like random sports trivia and like weird things that happen in sports way back in the day. It's just fun. It's interesting, and it just gets me going. Just makes me happy. All right, guys, that's it for the Nifty Nerd News portion of the podcast, though. We're going to wrap things up here shortly with two things I wanted to talk about. Two, I guess, things that I've been digesting, not physically, but like entertainment that I've been digesting this past, seems like forever. One being a video game, which I just recently beaten, no spoilers. And two, a new anime that my wife has shown me that I'm really excited about. So we'll talk about that after the break. All right, guys, thanks for hanging on there. Up first, let's talk about the anime that my wife just showed me. It's called Mushoku Tensei. I think I'm saying that right. Mushoku Tensei, Jobless, Reincarnation. It's about a 34-year-old man who is killed, because that's what happens, and then reborn into a new world of magic, demons, and I'm guessing other types of monsters. I don't know. I'm not too far into the show. I think I'm only 4 episodes in right now. But from episode 1, this show has gotten me very hooked. And there are some darker themes to it, it seems. And just in like the first episode alone, you kind of get a feeling of things, and you get a little bit of a feeling of this guy's life. He was a shut-in for so long. It looked like he was picked on heavily in school, and it just kind of led him, like things just kind of kept piling on, and he kept being more and more reclusive. And then now like one of the few times he goes out into the world, something happens and he ends up losing his life because of it, and now reborn into a new world. So like any anime, right? This is isekai all over it. But what's been really nice about it is just for whatever reason, maybe it's because I don't watch too many of these all the time, but this one just feels way more refreshing compared to some of the others. Like, of course, he has an innate talent for magic and his abilities. So yeah, he's got to be somewhat OP in a way, but he's not like overly OP. Like, so his dad is like an expert swordsman, while his mom is a healer, like a magician, I guess. And while he has a very keen knack on magic, he's not a very good swordsman, and he's trying to get better at it because his father wants him to be good at it, but it doesn't work too well. And I really enjoy the family dynamic and how they joke with each other, and how the father, while can be silly and serious, I don't know, he just feels like a very real character, and he doesn't go too far in any direction. He's not overly serious, like he's not like abusive serious or anything, and he's not so jokey where he's a joke character. So like it's a really happy medium, and I wish I had a dad like this guy. I think his name is Paul in the show, and it's really funny because this guy is reborn as an infant, but he still retains all of his knowledge and memory of 35 years, and is just like, okay, I gotta grow up, and I gotta be a baby, and I gotta like try to not get caught out that I'm really a 35-year-old man trapped in an infant's body. But he's still a pervert. Like, he does things that kind of creeps the maid out because she's realizing like, you're not a normal child, and you're also trying to steal panties and stuff like that. So like there's a lot of funny to this, but there's some really serious moments in it too that just kind of almost not come out of nowhere, but they really come in swinging with them, man. And so it makes you kind of sit back and go like, oh shit, like what's gonna happen? And seeing the parents' reaction to a lot of things, and how they parent and their love and their struggles. It's very interesting and very fun to see. It's not something that I've seen in a lot of other isekai anime or stuff like that. Normally it's like, okay, yeah, I'm a baby. All right, let's get me up to uh, an age where it's okay for me to like have sexual thoughts about women and send me off to high school. Like that's kind of where all isekai go. Is like, all right, let's get to the fan service really quick. But this one, at least for the first 4 or 5 episodes, we're staying with a very young protagonist. I think he's only like 6 or 7, maybe 8 at this point. So he's still very much a child, but he's evolving and he's realizing if he wants to get better, one, he can't be a recluse like he was in his old life, and two, he has to go seek the knowledge and the education that he wants. And so getting to see him try to overcome his own fears and to be something greater is really interesting and really, really cool. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, definitely. I like. There's two. Like season 2 is out now, and it's releasing weekly. But season 1, I believe, is 24 episodes. I'm looking right now. Yeah, there's 24 episodes in season 1, and so I have just began this journey, and I'm pretty excited to see where it goes. And it's one of the few animes that I've been like really excited for here recently. And as funny as I just at first like just looking at the cover of it, I had no interest in watching it, but Casey happened to watch an episode of it and told me I think you would really like this. And so thank God for her. Thank God like we watch different things and then we like cross over with each other so we can tell each other like, hey, let's watch this together. Let's watch this together. Like another anime that we've been watching is called Zom 100, and it's like a zombie apocalypse. I don't know if I've talked about it on here or not. I feel like I have. So stop me. But it's such a beautiful anime. It's a guy who was just an office drone and things were just going miserable. His life was miserable. He hated everything. And then a zombie apocalypse happens and it's like his second lease on life, being able to just live free and not have to go into an office. And it's like, for whatever reason, even though the world's gone to shit around him, he's thriving. Like he's living his best life. You know, he's like just being a woo girl and having a ball, which has been a blast. And what's been even more great about this anime is while it is a zombie show and it very much still swings into some of that zombie stuff, one, it subverts a lot of the zombie stereotypes in ways, but what is really stuck out to me in this anime is the artwork, and their use of colors. And I mean that in, it's not just red and bloody guts all the time. Like they use these beautiful greens and blues and purples. It's a very artistic choice to go in with this, but I think it makes the world all that more interesting because I don't think it's so much like, oh, people just bleed these colors. I think it's more an artistic interpretation of what the main character is seeing, you know, because for him, this is very freeing. It's very like new and exciting experience for him. And so to have these bright and beautiful colors is a really interesting thing and a fun thing. So that's been really cool. Anyway, that's it for the anime stuff. So the last bit of things I want to talk to you about is I finally beat The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And I don't want to spoil it in case anyone's still playing through it because, you know, for me, I've really taken my time with the game. I was trying to 100% it, but finally I was kind of reaching a point where I was like, what am I afraid of? Like, I know I can beat Ganon. Like, I know I can do this, you know? And like, spoiler, not spoiler alert, the final boss is, of course, Ganondorf. You know, you got to fight him. But I wasn't expecting how the final fight would play out. It was very interesting to do all of that, and I had a lot of fun. Like there were some new concepts for the game that by the time you get to the end stages, like they're not totally new, but it added like this cool little variant to everything. So it wasn't like, oh, go to the main boss and let's beat him and game over. There were other things that you needed to do before you could get to that, and before you can get to the final kill or the final blow, if you will. I mean, you're gonna kill something is gonna die, but getting to the final blow and like when the final swing of the sword is done, like it feels worth it in a way. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the things that had to be accomplished to beat the game. It was a lot of fun. And looking back on things, I was definitely overpowered. I had maybe a little over half of the hearts that you can totally have. And I had plenty of room here. Like figuring out when to do like the dodges so you can do the flurry attacks and stuff get pretty easy after a while when you've been doing it. And once you kind of get used to like how Ganon's attack style goes, you start to figure it out. It did take me a while though. For whatever reason, the samurai sword that he has, or the gloom blade that he uses, took me forever to figure out. I just couldn't get the timing down. It was like the timing with the spear I was really good at, and he had another weapon that I was pretty damn good at dodging or deflecting with my shield. So like for whatever reason, the sword gave me the most trouble. But it was a lot of fun, man. And this story I found way more entertaining than Breath of the Wild. Not to say that Breath of the Wild didn't have a good story with it. I love the cinematics from it, but I really enjoyed the cinematics from Tears of the Kingdom and the story and how it all plays out. And the ending for me was very satisfying. I had just getting to watch the final cinematic, which is after the credits. So if you beat the game, stay for after the credits so you'll see the final cinematic. But it was great, getting to kind of know these characters over the span of a few game, I guess were they in this were they in, yeah, they were in Breath of the Wild. So like getting a chance to spend time with these characters and coming back to them and continuing the story was really fun and really rewarding. So having a rewarding final cinematic felt really good, man. I'm trying to think of things I can talk about without spoiling it, man. Really, Tears of the Kingdom, like, it was funny because I was looking at game reviews for it, and a lot of reviews give it a 10 out of 10, a perfect score, 5 out of 5, whatever. It was receiving a lot of perfect scores, and I was trying to think to myself, is it really the perfect game? And while, like, my only pet peeve with the game is probably the American voice acting, which, I mean, wasn't even that bad, but it was still probably could have been a little bit better. And at some points it felt like I had no direction. Like there were a few points in the game where I had to stop and think to myself, like, what am I doing? Like, what is my goal here? And so I had to kind of just take a step back, say, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to max out my Zonai battery cells and max out my stamina. And I want to find all of the light roots in the lower level, whatever you call it, the basement level. And so that's what I set out to do. I filled up my Zonai batteries, filled up my stamina, because once you find here's a pro gamer tip, once you find all the light roots in the bottom level, in the abyss, or whatever the hell you call that, they actually correspond to the land level where all the shrines are. So if you found a light root and you look like where it's at on the lower map and then switch to the middle map and there's nothing there, that means there's actually a shrine there and you got to figure out where it's at. Sometimes it's in a cave underneath, but it's always right above where a light root is. So that was one thing I learned and was really pleased to find. So that's like my pro tip, is do the lower level, like down there, find all the light roots, because they're fairly easy to find because they're glowing and lit up and you can see them if you get high enough and know where to go. It's scary because it's pitch black, so you got to get a lot of like light seeds to throw around so you can see what you're doing and find enemies before they find you. But once you get all the light roots, then it's so much easier to find the shrines, and so you can just fly back and forth and make your way and get your stamina or hearts up really quickly, which I found very useful about halfway through the game when it almost didn't matter. Like, I still need to go find all the shrines. I haven't done all that yet, but I'm fine now. I'm fine because I beat the game. But so now if I want to go back 100%, I can. But now I've kind of picked back up Pokemon Violet, because for Pokemon Go Fest and all the new stuff and announcements, they've announced one, a new DLC is coming for Pokemon Violet and Scarlet, which I'm kind of excited for. I didn't think I would be, but I'm kind of excited for. They announced a code, which I think is still good. I think today's the last day, August 27th. Maybe it's the 28th. Or no, I think it's the 30th. Like the last day of August, this code's good for. You go to the mystery gift on the Pokemon Violet Scarlet option page or whatever. Like you get into the game, it's how you redeem mystery gifts there, and you type in or I think it was like your Mew or something like that. I can't remember what it was. You can look it up, like code to get a free Mew, and you get a Mew. I got mine with a Terra type of grass, which has been really fun. Like I've never had a Mew in my game before, so it's really cool to have and cute to have like a Mew fly around and stuff, and it's like leveling up pretty quickly. I forget how quickly it is to level up Pokemon in this game, and I'm not like cheesing it by just using my main Pokemon to go fight super big monsters and just power level Mew up while he just sits on my bench. No, I've actually been battling with Mew and taking him around, which has been kind of fun because I've gotten to kind of like re-explore the game and like re-familiarize myself with the areas and everything. So that's been a lot of fun, and I've really been enjoying that. And it's kind of like getting me back into Pokemon because for a while there, I'd felt like everything that I wanted to do in the game, I was done with. Like, I had my team that I really liked and really enjoyed. I didn't want to power up any other Pokemon. I wasn't really big into the raids, so I had no reason to really want to try to do raids. But now I hear you can get Mewtwo also in some raids, so maybe I'll start doing that to try to get a Mewtwo. But really, I wanted to get a Mew, and now I have a Mew. I want to power him up to get him pretty epically beastly, and I gotta like feed him stuff to make like his stats perfect and all that. So I'm working on that, and it's kind of getting me back into the game, which has been fun. So it might be a good way to get me ready for the DLC that's supposed to be coming out. Well, next year I think it comes out, so I got some time to wait, got some time to kill. But yeah, that's been pretty much it, man. That's what I've been up to. Beat Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I'm really happy about that, and I probably take a break from that now that that's done. Get back into Pokemon for a bit, and watching anime again. Like that's been like really the heavy hitter. There's been a lot of good anime this season, so my Crunchyroll account's like full of things that I need to be watching, and I've just been having fun with it, man. Really haven't been reading comics. I have some sitting here that I need to check out. One of my favorites. Well, first off, my favorite series, Saga. I got a few issues that I'm backlogged on that I could be reading, so I might do that. And then I got a new volume of That Texas Blood, which is a comic book based out of Texas and like a small Texas town where it's like an old sheriff, like borderline should be retired, dealing with things in the town, and sometimes they have a bit of mystery to them. So it's been kind of interesting. I'm curious to see how this story plays out. It's been a really fun read for me, and I've really enjoyed That Texas Blood. Anyway, that's it for the podcast this week, guys. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your car ride, or however and wherever you're listening to me. Yeah, that's it, man. Sad news, real sad news. Needville Little League lost in the U.S. Championship game at the Little League World Series. I believe they will be playing for third place, like the consolation. And I think they're playing Chinese Taipei, which is who I wanted to see them play in the championship game. Chinese Taipei lost to Curacao, which good on Curacao, man. They were like beat pretty heavily by Chinese Taipei the first go around, came back and beat them in the international championship, and now we'll play California for the big one. But Needville, which is just outside of Houston, they played their little hearts out, man. Good on them to get a chance to play against the international team, which I still like. That's my own pet peeve against Little League World Series, is that like the American teams don't get to play against international teams until the championship game. And it's funny because my sister, back when she played softball, I think they were part of the Little League softball, but it was like senior league softball. When they went to the World Series, man, was this 2014, 2013? I can't remember. This is a long time. Maybe it was 2012 when all that, maybe, no, had to have been before that. Was it 2010? 2009? Man, this was a long ass time ago. No, I was in high school, so this had to have been like in 07 or 08, I believe. When my sister's team, it was El Campo, their all-star team, went to the Senior League World Series, and they played a round robin tournament where they played all the U.S. teams and all of the international teams. And then whoever had the best record after all the games, that's who played in the championship round, which I thought was better because, like, what's the point of going to the Little League World Series and never getting a chance to get to play against any international teams? Like, you're stuck just playing boring old U.S. teams. I thought it was really cool that they got to play. Like, I don't know. They'll never change the format because brackets are cool and whatever. But good on Needville to make it that far and to still be playing for something. You know, they could have not been knocked out the first two games and then you never hear anything about them. But they were making a really good run. They were undefeated up until the championship game and then sadly ended up losing, which sucks because, you know, California gets a chance to lose like twice and then make it. Like, why can't like why can't the winner get a chance? Like, oh yeah, you beat me this first time, but now I get to turn around and play you again because that was only my first loss. Like, you know, sucks. But it is what it is. This is Little League Baseball. Never gonna change. But that's it, guys. That's finally the last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. We'll see y'all later, man. That's it. Go home. Be safe. Drive. Whatever. Go to work. I don't know what you're doing. Just do it well, okay? Bry-Fy out.